In today's video, we're checking out the AICoco Smart Live Stream Cam. This is a 2K webcam that has pan, tilt, zoom functionality, and it also works with gesture control, which we'll get into in just a moment. Before we get started, a huge thank you to Pergear for sending this out for the review. I really appreciate it. If you want to check this out, I'll link it down in the description below. Here we go. Let's kick things off by seeing what we get in the box. Included, we get this instruction manual that will give you all the information you need to know when it comes to setting this up and also controlling it with gestures. In the little cardboard box, we get a USB-C to USB-A type cable. And lastly, here's the webcam. So one of the cool things about this is it does pan and tilt. So as you can see, it's kind of like locked off right now. To unlock it, we have to turn it counterclockwise like this. And now it will freely move on that axis. We also get the tilt axis on this section of the webcam here. So it can look up and down, left and right. So panning is left and right, tilting is up and down. If you want to lock it again for transport or whatever, you can simply just turn it back the other way and it locks it in place. Build quality wise, the top half feels really robust where the bottom half feels really quite plasticky, but I'm not going to hold that against it because plastic tends to last for a very long time. We also get a USB-C input over here for connecting it to the computer. And now I'm over to the AICoco webcam. Now, one thing I've noticed with this already is it doesn't handle auto exposure very well whatsoever. With the same lighting situation, my head is completely blown out on this side right here in my face. Now, if I turn my overhead light down, you may notice an improvement, but it always looks pretty hot on the highlights, which are the brightest parts of the image. So this is with the light off, and then the image quality really suffers. So to get this to look good, you've really got to fiddle around with your lighting setup and maybe apply some filters in Open Broadcaster software. I think the image quality is fine, but the overall way it handles the auto exposure isn't great. This is where having some dedicated software for this webcam would be an absolute no-brainer and a huge advantage. But we're going to talk a little bit now about some of the gestures, but this is how it looks being recorded directly to the computer. The first hand gesture controls the zoom. Make an L like this or point up, however you want to look at it. It zooms out. Do it again, and it zooms in. Now, if you hold it up a little bit further, it zooms all the way in, which I think is pretty cool, but you might notice now the framing's not quite right. That's where this gesture comes in. This allows you to move within the frame, and the camera will follow you around. This is pretty cool, and I can zoom out again if I want, just by doing this, and also move, and it's going to follow me around. I think this is really cool. Now, say for example, we find a position that works well. I'm going to try and frame this shot up properly just by moving my body side to side. Now I'm going to go stop. The stop control stops the camera from moving. Now if I move, it doesn't go anywhere. I think this is really powerful and it saves you from having to get up, go over to the webcam and adjust things on the fly. If you're like me and you like to talk with your hands, odds are you might accidentally turn that feature on or off. So just keep that in mind. One of the great things about the pan tilt zoom functionality is it's quite fast. So if I'm to move this way, you can see how quickly the webcam moves to adjust. If I move this way, you can see how fast it adjusts as well. I know the audio is probably going to cut out a little bit as I move around, but the actual speed of this is very, very responsive. The instruction manual says that the AICoco webcam supports autofocus, but what I've noticed is I think it's set somewhere around F22 because even when I hold something up, the focus doesn't really shift. As you can see, my shirt and all that kind of stuff is still in focus, and this is still in focus. So much like most webcams or an action camera, there really isn't any type of shallow depth of field. The maximum resolution this webcam can handle is 2560 pixels by 1440. So if you're on YouTube, for example, it's the option under 4K. But just know, as soon as you start zooming in digitally, you're losing resolution. So this is more like a HD webcam when you are using it with those features. If you zoomed all the way out, the maximum resolution is 2560 by 1440. And now you're listening to the built-in microphone on the AICoco webcam. This may be a bit of a shock after listening to the shotgun microphone. They're going to sound vastly different, but if you check out my OBSBot review, the built-in microphone on this sounds far better. And it's about 1 meter away from me, or 3 feet or so. You're probably hearing a little bit of the room, but after listening back to this, I think it actually sounds better and outperforms a lot of other webcams. So this is usable in a pinch. It doesn't sound as good as the built-in microphone on my computer, nor does it sound as good as any external audio. So if you've got a USB microphone, for example, then you can plug that into your USB port and get professional audio that way mixed with this. But I zoomed back so you can see more of the room, and I noticed, look at this, we have a watermark burned into the webcam, which I don't love. But to get rid of it, you can zoom in a little bit like this, boom, there you go. All right, let's wrap this video up. I'm gonna give you my thoughts about the AI Coco webcam Smart Live Stream Cam. So overall, this is a cool unit. I love the pan tilt zoom functionality and hand gesture functionality. So if that's important to you, this makes a whole lot of sense. Where I think it sort of falls apart a little bit is maintaining the highlight detail. And it has no companion software that I'm aware of either. So unlike the Logitech C920, which looks completely overexposed and blown out when you plug it in, you can adjust all of those features within some companion software that Logitech have. I can't find any software for this particular webcam, so as of right now, I'm limited to what Open Broadcaster software has built in. So I applied a lot from my video editing suite, and I also changed how bright the scene was by bringing down the brightness and adjusting the contrast, and I was still left with an overexposed face. I tried turning off this side lamp, the overhead, off camera, and I had exactly the same results. So it does struggle a little bit with the highlights, but the image quality is quite good. I'm not going to say it's better than the OBS bot or OBS bot. I think that might be the king when it comes to image quality, but it's not too far behind. I think the quality of the audio on this is far better than both the Logitech C920 and the OBS bot, so it has that going for it as well. Let us know what you think of this little webcam right here, and if you want to check it out, I'll link it down below. I hope this video has been helpful. Please leave a thumbs up, I appreciate it. Catch you soon. See ya.